Okay. All right, guys, we are officially live.
Okay, we need to see Miss Cargill.
Yeah, I'm waiting for her to come on. Her camera's not on yet. So, but we're gonna get started.
Okay, and on my end, it shows that the video is on, so I don't know why it's not.
Yeah, we can't see you at all. We can hear your beautiful voice, but we can't see your gorgeous face.
Let me see.
You may need to switch your camera. I don't know.
Yeah, let me see.
Yeah.
It says video on. It's giving me the option to stop video.
There was a message in the chat box, if you saw it. Miss Thomas indicated she was having issues with her audio.
Her audio is giving, yeah, I think we had Teresa, there was an issue previously with maybe your audio. You have to change where you're getting the audio. I don't know if it's coming through a speaker or your computer. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get started. It is right at, we have a minute. Oh my gosh, I love it when a plan comes together. So I think we have everybody except for Mr. Armstrong. He's gonna come on a little bit later. So we're gonna just kind of change the program just a tad bit. All right. And if our guests that are in house, if you're comfortable enough, please show your beautiful faces on our screen so the world can see what beautiful people there is in Detroit. And I'm also going to ask you, once you see it live on Facebook, if you could share it on your pages or in any specific groups that you're in. So there'll be more people that has access to the information today. Okay, here we go. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for spending this afternoon with us today for our Small Business Forum 101. This will be a first in a series of programming to work with our potential and current small businesses to ensure that they have a concrete basis that they're building their companies on. So there's opportunities for them for growth. In particular, today, we have a couple guests that are going to hit on some strong points for us to make sure that our companies are up and running and being guided in the right direction for growth. We have Commissioner Gwen Scales, who is the chairperson of the Detroit Entertainment Commission. We have Adriana Cargill, who is the owner and operator of DDG Showroom and Events in Detroit. We have Barry Wood, who's an attorney with Barry Wood Law. Ralph Armstrong, he's the chief union steward for the Detroit Federation of Musicians. District 1 business liaison, Tanisha Johnson. And Detroit Economic Growth Corporation representative, Gregoire Eugene Lewis. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Gwen Scales to tell us about the partnership that we have put together for this particular event. Gwen?
We welcome everyone and thank you for coming today. Just to give you a little bit of background about what the DEC does, we help evaluate and support the various entities actively promoting and or coordinating local entertainment, cultural, athletic, and special events. We collaborate with local businesses and civic organizations to attract entertainment, cultural, athletic, and special events to the city of Detroit. We help to develop a plan to apprise city residents of business opportunities created by entertainment, cultural, athletic, and special events that occur within or are hosted by the city of Detroit. And we work with the city council. Each of us, in accordance with the city council resolution adopted in 2008, we serve as an advisory body to the council with goals to attract and cultivate and make the public aware of business and cultural opportunities. So Commissioner Chu, Commissioner Collins, we formed and Commissioner Clayton formed a subgroup because we felt that during this pandemic time, there were so many of our businesses that were not getting the type of information or support that they needed from the city. And I believe that was Ms. Cargill's, that was definitely one of her concerns. So we decided, Commissioner Chu put together this small business forum featuring our wonderful guests and panelists. And so we want to know what you need us to do. So that is our goal with this forum, okay? How we can assist and giving you information of what you need for your businesses. I don't know if you've had that opportunity to obtain this, but this is one of those events, and we hope to have more of these ongoing, okay, so that we can attract. So that's basically what the commission does. And again, we thank you so much for coming here today.
Okay, well, thank you, Commissioner Scales. I'm going to ask the guests that are on the Zoom call with us, please ensure that you stay muted. If you want to ask a question, you can use the chat to ask your questions there or to raise your hand and we will address you at that time. One of the things that we wanted to ensure that we as a commission does was to be more vocal and more seen more in the community so folks understand who we are and what we're doing, because a lot of people don't even know that the commission exists. And one of the questions they ask is, what is the commission? What are your roles? What are your responsibilities? How come we don't hear about you? So one of the things we wanted to do was to ensure that we're out there more so you guys will have the opportunities to reach out to us, let us know what your needs are, and we see how best to address it. So what I'm going to do now is to turn you ready, Adriana? So what I'm going to do now is to turn the mic over to Miss Adriana Cargill. She was the inspiration behind this first forum, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself, what she presented to us as a commission, probably about 3 months ago, maybe 2 to 3 months ago, and why we decided to move forward with this event. Adriana, the mic's yours.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
We're getting a reverb.
Okay, yeah, 1 second. Okay, I had to close it on the laptop. I don't know what was going on with that camera. Hi, everyone. And thanks for being here. First, I would like to thank, everybody that has something to do with it. Miss Sophia Chu, thank you for, seeing the vision. When I brought it up, you kind of hopped right on like, that's what I've been thinking. And then, of course, I have to thank Mrs. Gwen Scales for introducing me to the Detroit Entertainment Commission. Like I mentioned before, it's just so many of us in the event industry that almost started by accident in the industry. So we didn't really know, who to go to about different issues. And as far as the entertainment field was, when that comes into concern. So it's great that I was able to, find out about that and even let other event professionals know about it. So that's, a great start in feeling connected to our city officials and people in power, and that has connections that can help make changes in our particular field of work. So people that know me know that I don't speak a lot. until I start talking. So I wrote down everything that I wanted to make sure I brought up about, you know, the lounge and everything. So if I go in and out here and there, that's just me switching back to my notes because they are on my phone, and I did end up having to use my phone for video. So I'll be back. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. So just to go over a little bit information about myself, I am the owner of DDG Events and the showroom. And I actually started the company in 2014. But my goal was always to just put people together, to network people. And then I always like to use my experiences and help other people throughout the way. Like I will always say, well, don't do this because I did that. I always gave advice. And I felt like I gave them advice that I wish I had in the beginning. So it was always just a knack for just giving advice from my experiences. And of course, it's different for everyone, but I was able to speak on grander scales because I did events all the way from nonprofits to corporate. You know, I worked with small businesses for product launching. I did fashion shows and weddings. So I had a broad spectrum, you know, for pretty much anything as far as events were concerned. So about 7 months before COVID hit, I decided to sign a lease. Yes, sign a lease for a commercial space. And the goal was to create a space for small business owners, and especially those that were working from home, much like I was at the time, where they could actually come in, meet with clients, you know, get those deals, set out presentations, and really give people a larger spectrum of what they have to offer outside of the online platforms, which can be, you know, kind of limited in a way, because a lot of people, they do book based on their experience or the feel that they get from you, the vibe, as they like to say, or the personality. So it's a lot easier to book in this field when people can get a feel for who you are. And so I wanted to create a platform where we could really expunge on that, really bring our companies up to the next level. So we actually created a membership format that is online based, and it's easy to use. You don't have to call and check for availability. You can go right on the website at ddgshowroom.com. You can go into the business page and you can get all the information about the memberships that we have. And we have some that start as low as $15 a month that gives you access to our entire business lounge area. And it's already set up with different seating areas if you want to do comfortable conversations. We have table and chair setups for co-working spaces. So if you have a crew and you guys need to, you know, get together and get ideas together, brainstorm. And then we also have a lot of features that we set just to really make your business look good. So when you're here, your clients are seeing, you know, waterfall features, they're seeing fireplace features, they're seeing chandeliers. And then you also have a cafe session where you can ask your clients, hey, would you like some water, some coffee, some tea? We have a lot of different options from different local bakeries that like to promote and let people know that they're here. So we have a lot of different amenities that you can enjoy as a member, including events such as these. You know, our goal is to do many more workshops and learning forums, you know, where people can really get the information they need at whatever phase their business is in, including printed brochures or, you know, booklets of information, just, you know, working throughout all the different fields eventually. But we really focusing on, you know, who we set this space up for. And a lot of event professionals work from home, and that's just the way it goes. So again, memberships start at $15, and then we have upgraded memberships that also include mailbox services and mailbox services, product drop-off services. So if you're a boutique that's maybe predominantly online, you can make this a drop-off location where if clients don't want to necessarily pay for the extra shipping or they want to get it sooner, they can actually have the package brought here and then they can pick it up with ID and information like that. So we want to make it easier to operate from home, especially in this times. We regularly cleaning and keeping the place COVID compliant. So it's just really built to help the growth of the small businesses in this community and those who also do work in this community. So even if you live in another state and you travel here often for work, then we have the conference room rental, the private office rental, and again, the business space area that you can use 24/7. Then we also we just put in our lock key code. So we have the electrical lock on the back door so that you guys have access, whenever you need to meet with a client. You don't have to worry about, oh, it's 5 p.m. and I don't think the receptionist is there. You still have access and can still meet with your clients. And it just makes it a lot easier to seal the deals for business owners. Now, I don't think that was the whole 10 minutes, but I think I pretty much summed up what we needed to say. And then,
I'm sorry, Adrian. So I wanted you to talk a little bit about how your, I wouldn't say your dream, how your hustle became, why did you decide to make your hustle a bit? Because a lot of get into the bit, we have a side hustle, right? But we don't know how to monetize it. And that's what this is about. A lot of our friends and folks that we know, DJs, vocalists, event planners, they have a regular 9 to 5, right? And then they have a hustle, something that they're really passionate about. Yeah. So what was it that made you decide to turn your side hustle into a business?
Okay, so for me, like a lot of people in my business, it was more so a calling. I was really passionate, more so than about event planning. It was more about just seeing people networking and connecting. So that was the thing. And I said, hey, people need this. This is something that people need. So I was originally, I started modeling when I was 14. I did fashion modeling. I worked with a couple of boutiques that were opening up, and I would hear them say that they wanted to do fashion shows and things like that. So I just became hands-on and helping getting those shows started. And I realized, people were really taking those opportunities to network with each other, exchange business cards. We had other vendors coming out, and that's really, I really started off with working with small businesses. That was my original start, just working with all the little boutiques and the nail shops that were opening, helping them get the product and the grand openings together. And it just felt good. It was something I liked doing. It was really easy to do. And when those calls start coming, it just makes it a little bit easier to say, okay, I'm going to take the time to learn this and do some schooling and take some classes and now watch a bunch of YouTube videos. So it was something that naturally happened for me, but I know it's a lot of people that it might not be that smooth selling because they might not have that initial network. So that's why I felt like stuff like these kind of learning situations were necessary, because I just happened to be in the area of people that needed my services and grabbed on right away. But sometimes it's not that simple. And so, I think that going through the fails and the things that I did wrong and the things that I should have known ahead of time that would have made it easier is very important to bringing up the next set of, event companies. There's never too many of us, and we work together. We need each other. So that's just, how my start came about.
Okay, fantastic. And that's one of the things I want us to realize, that not everything starts off initially as a business. It's a passion that they have. It's something that you're really good at. So people task you to get involved in those things. But at some point, you have to evolve to that next step. So I'm going to introduce Barry Wood to you in a minute. but I wanted to touch a little bit on, I'm gonna have Gwen speak, and then I'll touch a little bit on an idea, and then we'll turn it over to Ms. Wood. Go ahead, Gwen. You're on mute. You're muted. You're muted.
I received something in the chat regarding posting the link to be able to sign up for a membership. Can that be posted? Something that you can do. Also, your address needs we need to let people know where you are. I'd like you to say where you are now so that people, if they just want to write it down quickly, your address. And also, I think that Commissioner Chu, we're talking about how to fund it. I'm still, for people that know, I think we're getting into that. Are we, Commissioner Chu?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Right.
Yeah.
So just that just came through in the chat, and when people chat, I'll raise a hand, and then we can, just in case they have questions. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'll
So have
monitor
them put their questions in the chat, and we'll take care of them one by one. If not, right as they ask it, by the time the end of the meeting has taken place, they will have the answers to their questions.
Very good. Thank you.
Adriana, I just allowed you to put the information in the chat. If you could do so, tell them where your location is, and also add the information into the chat as to how they can reach out to you.
Okay.
So while she's doing that, I want to let you know that I am actually very impressed with where Adriana is, where her location is, and what she has been doing since I've met her. Based on her passion and how she presents herself, I've actually become a member of her neighborhood WeWork. Beautiful spot. I've had a friend have a birthday party there, and then I also officiated a wedding there.
Back to back.
It's a really cool space in District Number 1, and Tanisha can tell you a little bit more about that because she does have a relationship with Adriana, but we'll leave that for Tanisha. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to open the floor to Barry Wood. Barry, again, tell people who you are, your connection to the city of Detroit, why you're so passionate about what you do, before you roll into the presentation about, you know, how to start a business, why they should start a business, and so on and so forth.
Good afternoon. Hi, everyone. I'm Barry Wood. I want to thank the commission and Commissioner Chu for having me here today to speak with all of you. Part of what prompted me to speak on this topic, which is on starting a business, is the realization that there were many artists and entertainers that didn't have the documentation necessary to apply for and receive certain grants and loans that became available after the pandemic struck earlier this year. And so that's what got this conversation with myself and Commissioner Chu going, because I'm hoping to bring some information. I'm going to start with basics to light that you may not have thought of as artists, entertainers, or small business owners. As a disclaimer, before I go into, I'll tell you all about myself, is that the information I'm giving you today, it's just information. This is Barry, lawyer. It's just information. It's not intended to replace like real legal advice that would be specific to your own business and what you're trying to do. And I'm also not saying today that an attorney is required to do or take any of the steps that I'm going to suggest and go over here today. So I'm going to share my screen really quick, and I'm going to talk and tell you about myself. I know I have a lot happening here at the moment. Okay. And are you able to see the presentation? Great. So me. So I'm an attorney, and I'm the owner of Blake Wood Law, which has an office in downtown Detroit. Blake Wood Law focuses on helping small business owners with all aspects of starting and running their businesses. I'm originally from California, and I've been an attorney for 12 years. I'm an attorney licensed in California and Michigan. I moved here to Detroit in 2010 to support my now husband, who at the time was in the music industry. He was not a musician, he was a manager, in fact, a tour manager, and he was managing multiple local singer-songwriters, and one of the people he was managing was signed with Atlantic Records in New York. After I moved to Detroit in 2010, I fell in love with the city. It was shortly after the 2008 recession. And so I saw firsthand the revitalization of the city. After my husband left the music industry, I helped him establish a successful restaurant in Midtown Detroit. It's now closed, but it was formerly called Dangerously Delicious Pies Detroit. It was a sweet and savory pie shop in Midtown. Before being in private practice, I worked on the team that was tasked with restructuring the 36th District Court in downtown Detroit. I also was a prosecutor for the city of Detroit, and most recently, I was a magistrate also for the city. So I have a lot of experience with the city. I reopened this firm, which was previously opened in 2014, but I reopened this firm earlier this year, and I've been actually building this practice during this pandemic. So I'm in the place of many other small business owners who's trying to build a business during really challenging times. So today I'm going to talk about a few things. I'm going to go over formulating a mission for your business, creating a business entity, opening a business bank account, talk a little bit about accounting and possible next steps for your business. As we said before, feel free to put any questions you might have for me in the chat box. I plan to answer them at the end of the session only because I cannot see the chat box from here. But if a hand is raised or there's an urgent need for a question at the time, please let me know and I will stop and address the question at that time. So first, I wanted to talk about mission statements. It's been said that in order to start a business, you need to have a business plan. Well, not everyone knows how to prepare a business plan or has the financial resources to pay someone to do so. So my suggestion is that you start off by drafting a mission statement. A mission statement is a short, concise statement describing why your business exists and its goals for operating, such as the types of products or services you're providing, your target customers or clients, and what makes the business unique. I can give you an example of a mission statement. For example, the mission statement of the Detroit Symphony Orchestra is to embrace and inspire individuals, families, and communities through unsurpassed musical experiences as a leader in the world of classical music. Your mission statement can help guide you and keep you on task as your business develops, can help keep you focused. So, as we were talking before about turning one side hustle into their main hustle, a lot of people have needed to do that during these times or have decided to do that and pivot in what they're doing during these times. And one of the things after you're having, you develop a mission for your business and you're wanting to help legitimize it is to create a legal entity, a business entity. One might ask, why do I need a business entity? Well, you create a business entity to make sure that your personal assets are not subject to your business liabilities. And I'll explain a little bit what I mean by that. For example, if you have an issue with your business, you're a musician and you unexpectedly have to cancel a performance and your former client decides to sue you. You don't want your personal assets like your house to be at risk in the suit that relates to you as a business. You as a person, singer, performer, whatever that may be, you are also a business. You're the vessel of the business. So you don't want your personal assets to be put at risk. So in creating a business entity, it's important you need to determine, it needs to be determined, whether it's by you or an attorney, what type of business entity is best to achieve your business mission. There are many different types of business entities. I'm not going to go into them all at all because they're so expansive. But there's some questions that are asked by if you're getting help from an attorney, or that you should consider yourself in determining what type of business entity is appropriate for your business. So you look at, who are the owners of the entity? Are they going to be individuals owning it or other businesses? Will the owners be actively involved in the business is a question to ask. What are the projections for the profitability and the long-term growth of the business? What are the owners contributing in terms of monetary amounts to get the business started? How will it be managed, the entity? What are the tax consequences of the type of entity you're thinking of creating? Do you plan to sell the company? Do you plan to have the company go public? Do you want your family to be able to take over the business later in the future? Those are all key questions. So the most common entities in arts and entertainment are a sole proprietorship, an LLC, or a corporation. So a sole proprietorship, for example, is a business that's owned by one individual. The owner is personally responsible for all of the debts that the business has, even in excess of any amount that person has invested in the business. There's nothing formal that you file with the state to create a sole proprietorship. However, sole proprietorships can be very risky to the business owner, and I personally would not recommend them to someone who's starting a business. Next, there's a limited liability company, also known as an LLC. The owners of an LLC are called members. There can be one member, there can be multiple members. And typically, for the members of an LLC are not personally responsible for the debts and obligations of the LLC in that form. Third, there are corporations. There are various types of corporations. The type, whether it's an S Corp or a C Corp, it depends on how your taxes and tax liability is handled. So I won't go into that minutia. But corporations are owned by shareholders who vote for directors that ultimately run the business. Most artists and entertainers choose to create an LLC, and in those circumstances, they're usually sufficient to protect them from personal liability if anything were to go awry with their business. So next I'm going to talk about, there we go, sorry. Next I'm going to talk about number 2, creating the business entity. So when you create a business entity, you'll need to choose a name. And sometimes as professionals and those in creative realms, you want to have the perfect name. However, sometimes the perfect name takes time to develop. So if you don't have the perfect name now, it's okay. You can always create a DBA later when you do. DBA, it stands for doing business as, and is a name that your company can also operate under. For example, my business formally is Bari Blake Wood Law, PLLC. That's a mouthful. However, my DBA, which is also created through the formally created, which we'll talk about that through the state of Michigan, is Blakewood Law. So I also go by that, much shorter, to the point. So once you pick your name, whether it's perfect or not, you have to confirm that that name is available in this state. And you can do that on the website of the Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs. And you may hear that referred to as LARA, L-A-R-A. Then once you confirm the name is available, you can file what's called Articles of Organization, where you formally and officially create with the state your business entity, whether it's a corporation or an LLC, or another type of entity which may apply to your business. So you'll create that, and that's also done online with the Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs for a small fee. So once your business is, the entity's created, you'll next get an employee identification number. So an employee identification number is like a social security number for your business. So it's a number that's specific to your business to keep track of its income, and we'll talk about that later. You can apply online for it through the Internal Revenue Service or IRS website. And in most circumstances, you can get it the very same day. I mean, in virtually 10 or 15 minutes process going through it. So once you have your employee identification number, then you should think about determining whether you need an operating agreement. So operating agreements are for LLCs, limited liability companies. They're not required by the state of Michigan, and they govern the internal operations of the business in a way that suits the needs of the business owner or owners. So I'll give an explanation and an example. So many people who go into business think about how getting into business, but they don't think about getting out of business or what will happen if things go awry with their business. And so an operating agreement can be in place whether you're one person or you have partners or multiple people involved in the business. It's created at the very start, and it can discuss things. For example, LLCs are owned by members. So it can discuss the roles of the different members in the business, talks about how much each member contributed to get the business started, the percentage of the business that each member owns, whether it's one that owns 100% or more than one who owns different percentages, what happens in case of emergency. For example, what if one of the members or yourself dies or is disabled? Or what happens if the members decide that they don't want to be in business with each other any longer? So we'll give an example. So where this has come in handy very recently for a client of mine. So I have a client who owns a business that is currently relaunching, rebranding, and he has a partner. And he is having challenges with his business partner who's no longer doing his, exercising his responsibilities. And so now it's being considered that this client would like to end his business relationship. So the first thing you go to is the operating agreement. The operating agreement, which was contemplated by both parties, because in this case it's a partnership, before there were any problems, it outlines how the partnership can be terminated by whether it's agreement of both, and if what to contemplate if the parties agree to stopping working together, or if they don't stop or don't agree, how they can still end their business relationship. And so the operating agreement has come in very much handy in this situation and others. So now you have your business, you have everything in place now to open your business bank account. So a question might arise, why do I need a business bank account? I have a personal bank account, count my money from my work, which was formerly your side hustle, just go into my personal account and I use it because it's my money. I'm the only one. Say I'm the only one who has who's part of this business account. The money just go into my personal account. Well, just like you create a separate legal entity so that your personal assets are not liable, are not able to be taken if there's a business issue, you create a business bank account to reinforce to the world that you and your business are not one and the same. So when you open a business bank account, the bank's going to need everything we just talked about. The articles of organization that you've created with Laura, an employee identification number, which you've got online from the IRS, and in limited circumstances, your operating agreement. It's possible they might be, because if you're opening your business bank account, also applying for some kind of financing, they're wanting to know who the partners are. Your partners are not necessarily identified in your articles of organization. So the bank may want to know who is part of this business and how much do they own. And that's exactly where they can get that information. in your operating agreement if you have one. So accounting, and I'm going to touch on this because it is probably the most overlooked part of business that small business owners kind of do not think about. So accounting and the accounting method, or having an accounting method, is important to keep track of the income and expenses of your business. For example, as an owner of an LLC, the profits and losses of your business flow through your own personal tax return. However, so it's really important to keep track of the money that comes in for your business, but also the expenses that are business related, so that it accurately shows your actual income. Because not everything you get is going to be counted as like money in your pocket, because there are business expenses that offset that. So it's important that you keep track of that. Your business expenses are different from the money you pay yourself or to pay your household bills. So it's important to keep your business expenses and income accounted for. I strongly suggest that you use a method, an accounting method that you can regularly update or have access to, as opposed to providing just, and I'm not criticizing anyone who might be listening, but a box of receipts to your tax preparer at the end of the year. Because it's often, and we'll talk a little bit about reports in the future, that immediate access to the financial health of your business is important in applying for loans and grants. And so going through kind of grant opportunities, and Mr. Eugene Lewis will talk about this soon, come up, and not always expectedly, sometimes unexpectedly. They won't always come up right after you finished your business tax return at the end of the year. They could come up mid-year. And as for many of us with this pandemic, these opportunities came up in April. And the things that were being looked for example, are please give us your profit and loss statement. Please present us with your balance sheet. Please present us with, tell us how much your income has changed from the last 12 months as compared to now that the pandemic has struck. And so if all of your information is in a box of receipts, getting that information to the necessary sources is going to be time consuming, very time consuming. So there are a few ways that, few options for accounting. We've got do-it-yourself options and professional services. Do-it-yourself options include services like QuickBooks, which I'm sure so many, if not all of us, have heard of, Xero or Sage. There's many, many more. I don't want to say sadly, but QuickBooks kind of runs the market and you hear about it a lot, but there are other options out there. So those are do-it-yourself options. And then, or you can enlist and hire a bookkeeper or a CPA, which is a certified public accountant. And it's kind of an and/or. It will depend on your business what might be best for you. So as I was saying, for do-it-yourself, there are many companies that provide do-it-yourself accounting services to small business owners, often for a small fee that's paid on a monthly basis, that have free or low cost training. The companies are mostly online. Their services are usually cloud-based and allow you to have quick access to these reports that I was talking about, and I'll talk a little bit more about in a moment. Or you could hire a bookkeeper and or a certified public accountant. Some of the companies I already discussed, like QuickBooks, Xero, or Sage, can refer you to or connect you with a professional bookkeeper or CPA in your area, depending on what your needs are. Bookkeepers or CPAs can be hired on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. They are more costly. They sometimes charge by the hour, depending on who you're connected with, but they do come with a different level of professional expertise than just your own knowledge that you garner from having conversations or training. So ultimately, I mean, for tax purposes, it's often likely you'll use a bookkeeper or CPA to help you with that. but you also kind of in between could possibly use a do-it-yourself option. So I'll give you an example. I kind of use a hybrid. I use QuickBooks. So the QuickBooks software links directly to your business bank account, and you're able to, through the QuickBooks program, categorize your bank transactions into areas of allowable business expenses. So when I started my business, I used QuickBooks paid bookkeeping service to help me set up my account and make sure I was trained on how to categorize my transactions properly. Then when I became comfortable, I was able to handle my books for myself for a period of time. Then when I needed help again, I was able to resubscribe to the bookkeeping service. When I felt as if I had like a handful of questions, I really didn't know what to do. It's not the end of the year yet, but we're getting close. So then I re-signed up just to get some of my questions answered with their bookkeeping service. And then now I'm back on my own. And so it was a hybrid where, QuickBooks service might be, $25 a month to do it all yourself. And to have a bookkeeper where you get help from might be $200 a month. So the hybrid option, for me at least, allowed it so that I got the professional help where I needed it, but also was mindful, of budgets. So there are a lot of options like that, not necessarily just through QuickBooks, through other companies too. So the benefits, as I talked about, and this we're going to talk about some of the reports, the benefits to having any kind of accounting service are time saving when it's time to have your tax returns filed, or when you need access to reports. Because in QuickBooks or any of these services, you can have easy access to balance sheets and profit and loss statements that could be needed when applying for loans or grants. And it also allows you to see the financial health of your business, how you're doing at a glance. If you're wondering, oh goodness, how much have I spent on this year? In a moment, you can see it. And that's very helpful when you're making decisions for the future of your business. Also these services allow you to invoice customers and clients, prepare and keep track of payroll if you have employees for your business, keep track and make payments to independent contractors. And so there's a lot of benefits to having some kind of accounting service. Okay, so once you have the foundation in place, then you can start thinking about possible next steps. And I'm just touching on things that you could think of, like maybe then as your business starts going, you can think of preparing a business plan, which can be good for allowing your business to grow and further plan. You can determine what insurance could be useful in protecting your business. You could start researching whether licenses or permits are required for the work you'll be performing, or create a marketing plan to help better get the word out. So I know that was a lot of information. So I just wanted to thank you all for allowing me to speak with you today. I'm going to unshare my screen so I can see the chat box and answer any questions that you may have. If you have a question and you don't feel comfortable sharing it with the group, or you'd like to discuss your business goals with me, please reach out by phone or email or even through the website, and I'd be happy to give you a complimentary 15-minute consultation. So thank you. Let me see if there's any questions. I don't see any questions.
This is an opportunity. If you have a question, you can ask her directly and she can respond to it now online if you're comfortable doing that by simply raising your hand or using the chat box. Thank you, Barry, for your time. Great presentation, by the way. And I think it hit a lot on the points as it regards preparing them for the conversation that Tanisha and Mr. Eugene Lewis, like you said, to let them know opportunities that are coming up so they're more prepared to address these things. Because I know a lot of the small business people that I know, or independent contractors that I know, there were grants out there, and we as a community, in particular myself for the Caribbean community, there were opportunities for grants that were available. But our community members did not have the foundation that you talked about. They had no EIN, they had no business entity per se, and they didn't understand the concept of being a sole proprietor and then using their taxes to prepare them to fill out the paperwork. And the turnaround on the paperwork is so quick sometimes. Sometimes it's a week based on the funds that are there. And then by the time I get it, it's down to 4 days. So when I get it to them, you know, they have 2 or 3 days to figure it out. And they don't know what Dun and Bradstreet number is. They don't know what some of these specific things on the applications are. So it puts them at a disadvantage. So I don't know with me saying that if anybody had any poignant questions that they wanted to ask.
I just wanted to ask, Ms. Wood, did you mention articles of incorporation?
Yes.
That way, if you're doing the corporate, okay, I was probably doing something. Thank you.
I think I said articles of organization. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay.
Oh, and I did have a question that came in, and I put my contact in the chat box. It said, so by having PayPal, it's from Ms. Jackson, PayPal, and keeping track of income and also our bank statements, we should still look into maybe one of the systems or hiring an accountant to keep better track. So yes, so it would allow more ease of getting the information. So if you have your bank statement, for example, it's not specifically pulling from that bank statement. To go through that bank statement, you'd have to go through and find all of your business expenses and like highlight them. Where when you have an accounting system, when it comes through the bank, you automatically categorize it and how it needs to be categorized in terms of business expenses. And these reports don't are very specific into what business expenses they're looking at to, you know, formulate a balance sheet or profit and loss statement. It's not like everything that runs through your bank account qualifies as something that needs to be considered in preparing these documents. And so PayPal is helpful, but you can receive it by PayPal, have it go into your business bank account, like so having income, pay your expenses from your business bank account. And if you put it in an accounting system, it can kind of work through the information and compile it in a way that is useful for grants and loans. So I wouldn't say you have to hire an accountant, but an accounting system would be very helpful in making sure that you're easily prepared when you need to be. I hope that answered your question. You're welcome.
You're muted.
Yeah, I'm talking to myself. Sorry, I was testing my voice. I was using my inside voice. So as I was saying, if you do have questions for Ms. Wood, you can continue to put them in the chat. She will respond to them throughout the program. And then we can do further discussions, a deeper dive if there's any additional questions that you would like to share with us, Barry. Should, in case it's something that everybody should really hear, we can approach that at the end of the program in the Q&A portion of it.
Yes, and I had one more question come in about the information for nonprofits. And yes, nonprofits are a little different, but this information would also apply to nonprofits. And if you have specific questions about your nonprofit, please reach out to me.
Okay. So now we're going to turn the mic over to Mr. Ralph Armstrong. You ready for us, Mr. Armstrong?
Yes, I'm ready. I'm sitting
Okay.
here ran back. I'm sorry I didn't get in earlier.
Oh,
But
that's okay.
I'm
So I
listening.
want you first to tell them a little bit about yourself, your relationship with the Detroit Entertainment Commission, and then talk to them about the role that you play on the Detroit Federation of Musicians Union.
Okay, I am a professional musician. I work with just about everybody you can think of in music, and I'm old. How can I word this? I've been a union member for the last, it's going on 40 years now. I'm about ready to turn, no, oh God, I'm going to be a 50-year member soon. I started at the age of 13. My mother made me join the union at 13 years old. And I thank her for doing that, because next year I get my pension. And it's hard for me to word this, but musicians are horrible business people. They are the worst, period. They keep track of nothing far as their finances, or like I was listening to the lady, Miss Wood, talking about receipts and LLCs. And that's something that's paramount to being a business person. You got to keep track of all your receipts. And I have a folder, which I have them categorized for automobile, food, cleaning. These are expenses that the government allow you to write off. And that stuff comes in very handy. You got to have that instead of people throwing their receipts into a big bag. And then at the end of the year, whatever you do, don't take it to a CPA, because it's going to cost you hundreds of extra dollars for doing that stuff, because they don't want to see it. So that's one of the things that I've been taught over the years, is being business and dealing with the American Federation of Musicians, is knowing the right wages to get paid for how much time that you're working, and how much money they're actually going to pay into your pension fund. And that's important. But I can't get, no offense, but a lot of Black musicians, they don't get it. And we have to bury them. They have no life insurance. They don't have health insurance. That's one of the advantages of being a musician. So when you're working for different networks like CBS or for ABC, we have contracts. And every time you do a video or a television show, you get reusage checks. But if you're not a member of a union, they're not going to pay you. You're not going to get that money. And then a percentage of that money goes into your pension fund. And it's really important to be involved in this. All of the great musicians I've worked with, like Carlos Santana, I've worked with Miles Davis, John McLaughlin, Herbie Hancock, they're all members of the American Federation of Musicians. And the first thing musicians say, oh, they're going to take my money. But guess what? When you're my age, I'm blessed that I don't have to go out and make the rent in a snowstorm. You have something to fall back on. And it's really important. You know, that's one of the major things about being a musician. And just recently, I've been blessed, I guess you call it a blessing, but I am the chair of the trust fund. And that's a fund that we help musicians who are down on their luck. And I've issued 2 checks recently for $500 to musicians that are having it very bad. Because right now, our industry is wrecked. It is nothing. I got gobs of work canceled all over the country. I was supposed to be in Europe right now, in Germany. Nothing is happening. I've lost thousands of dollars. But I'm blessed. But the thing about it is, I hope musicians become business people, getting their copyright set up. And that's important with the Library of Congress. If you write a song, copyright only takes about $12 or something. You know, I see Gwen saying amen. Yeah, so pretty much that's about it. And I'm blessed to be in this position, but I want to get more Blacks to get involved. You got to get off the porch. You know, and that's one thing about Gwen and her husband. They've always been involved in business. They've always handled their careers like business people. And that's why they're successful. That's why they live a good life. And my spiel is over. Thank you.
A question, how do they get involved in the union? Where can they get information from? How can they be a part of the union?
If you're a musician, just go to Local 5, American Federation of Musicians, Detroit, Michigan. It's easy. You can Google it on your cell phone. Very easy. We're on Southfield, right on the service drive.
What information do they need to have?
Information is nothing much if you can play music, if you can sing, if you can dance. We're a union that hires all artists, no matter what you do.
Do they have to be a business entity to join?
No.
Okay.
No, we'll take everybody.
Okay.
We take everybody, trust me. Well, we're at, with the current administration in Washington, they've waged war on unions. So we're taking everybody. We're at war right now until we get a certain guy out of the White House.
Okay.
Mr. Armstrong, I just wanted to add too, if you're a member of the union, the local union, it's easier to get into SAG. SAG has
definitely.
SAG has very high, and SAG is the Screen Actors Guild, for those of you that are unfamiliar
We're
with SAG.
sister and brother.
Exactly. So it's cheaper for you to become a member of the local of the federation musicians than it is to join SAG. SAG's membership are very, very high. So they recognize, and so when you want to do a TV show, and that SAG comes and says, well, I'm a member of local fire, no problem. Okay, they recognize each other, so it's cheaper to join the federation than it is to join SAG because they recognize that.
That's right. One other thing, you just hit the nail on the head. This is one of the major reasons I'm glad I was in the union. My mother made me join. I don't know if you remember Willie Green. Willie Green took me off the stage at the age of 13 at the Latin Quarter because we were not in the union. And my mother said to me, boy, you gonna join the union. Now, case in point, let me tell you what happened to me. This is the reason why. A lot of the laws that are set up with the American Federation of Musicians, television, motion pictures, allow you to go after these companies if somebody does copyright infringement on your product, your music. Now, true story. One night I was listening while I was asleep. I was watching the news and I fell asleep and I heard this commercial. And I said, oh, that sounds good. And I heard it again. I said, oh, that's hip. The third time, I said to myself, that's me, and fell out the damn bed. Guess what? I found out I was used in Adidas. My song was used in Adidas commercial. Okay, I got a recording of it. You have to have proof of it. I recorded it, went in my kitchen. That's when I was married with my big house with those kids. And I went and recorded this. Had a house like wings. So went in the kitchen, recorded it, went back to sleep. I had the evidence. I talked to Arnold Rothstein. He was up in Bingham Farms. He was a lawyer. He's deceased now. And he told me, he said, Mr. Armstrong, this song was used in the motion picture Sliver. I said, I'm in a motion picture. I got the movie Sliver. I'm singing in the love scene with Sharon Stone and Alec Baldwin. True story. Look it up, the Armstrong case. So the case was too big for Arnold Rothstein. He recommended me to Robert Osterberg in New York with Abraham Frauenswab, who is still my attorney to this day. He's semi-retired. We looked at that and it was used by 131 companies. My music. I could not go after these people if it wasn't for the law set up by the American Federation of Musicians. It was 10 figures. They had to pay me. The lawyers got a lot, but guess what? That's why I'm sitting in my apartment looking at the water. I'm done.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Lesson learned for sure. So I know we have some young musicians and entertainers on the Zoom call. So I don't know if they had any specific questions that they wanted to ask at this time. You can either put it in the chat or raise your hand and we can have Mr. Armstrong address them directly, or we can move it to the end and we can answer the questions in the Q&A session there. But again, this is a part of why the conversation is so viable to have at this point, because we have a lot of people that are singers, DJs, that they don't understand that they have to be involved in unions and create entities for themselves to make sure that when something like COVID-19 happens or stuff that is not as harsh as this, that there's opportunities for growth, whether it's for partnership or ways to grow and market your business so your side hustle can now become your full source of income.
All right.
Okay, so that being said, we're going to turn it over to the opportunity people. The first one being the District 1 Business Liaison, Tanisha Johnson. Tanisha, you got the floor. Tell them about yourself, what it is that you do in District Number 1, and how we can reach out to you for the help that you are so gracious to offer.
Sure. Thank you so much, Sophia, for inviting me. And I definitely want to echo some of the sentiments that our previous panelists shared about being prepared for these opportunities as they come down the line. And that's one of the things that our role was implemented to do, to help small business owners in the city actually access the resources that are available to help make either their business grow and thrive, or if they're looking to start a business, like some of the attendees right now, having access to those opportunities so that you'll get the information that you need so that you can be successful. So if I can share my screen quickly, and you know, I'm not the best at the tech part, so I know it's this green button here. And then this. And can everyone see that? I believe so.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So and that's kind of the tagline. We do provide big help for Detroit small businesses. So what I'll do today is just do a really quick brief overview of what the DGC program is, our small business program, and the district business liaison program. And then we also have a new platform that we are encouraging Detroit business owners to utilize. It's the Detroit Means Business website, which has a wealth of information that's available. And then, as Sophia said, if there's any questions, we can definitely go over some of the concerns after that. So the DGC basically designs and implements innovative solutions that attract investment, create jobs, support our neighborhoods, and advance Detroit's economy. How we do that definitely is in the real estate arm, financial services, business development. But today we're going to focus on small business, of course. Some of the more familiar small business programs may be the Green Grocer Project, Motor City Restore, and Motor City Match, which Greg will talk about shortly, and our D2D program. And as I mentioned, the District Business Liaisons program, where we provide big help for Detroit small businesses. Some of the ways that we do that is helping our business owners kind of figure out how do we get through these city resources that are available to us. There's departments on the city side, such as BC, Detroit Water, planning and development. A lot of the resources and opportunities that are out here, business owners need help navigating them on the city side. So we kind of serve as that advocate to help business owners do that. And then while we're doing that, we also have a really robust ecosystem in Detroit that was already established that we really work hard to connect business owners to. So that includes your tech towns, your Prosperous, some of the support organizations that may be able to help provide you with those resources that Barry mentioned, providing a P&L statement, accessing QuickBooks, getting your accounting together. There's groups that can help you do that. So we try to help owners navigate who to go to and which resource is the best option for them. And then while we're doing that, we're creating data, trying to identify trends on what works in our city, what doesn't work, and what can make Detroit one of the greatest places to grow and start your business. Some of the things that the business liaisons do, of course, we mentioned some of the City of Detroit projects that you may be more familiar with. There's streetscapes construction going on in several areas, so we help facilitate communication between the business owners in those projects. There's City of Detroit business programs that are available, the Detroit Business Opportunity Program, if you're looking to get connected on some of the certifications that are offered. Small business support services we discussed with the grand openings, accounting features, if you need support developing your business plan. And then there's also commercial corridor initiatives such as Small Business Saturday that's coming up in just about a week now on November 28th. Some cases that we have resolved, we're almost a little higher than that now. I think we're about 1,400 now, but a little shy of 1,200 back in 2019. Top cases are, of course, building code and licensing, clean and safe, business planning and operations, and financing. If you are looking to connect to some of the city processes, if you want to learn about if you own a property and you want to learn about what the property maintenance requirements are, the Building and Safety and Electrical Engineering Department has information available for you to review. We did discuss the Detroit Business Opportunity Program. If you need support with licensing, permits, have your water bill assessed, anything that you need to do, anything that requires doing business in the city, there is a team of people that can help you do that. And if I can, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen momentarily and switch to a different screen. And I just want to go over the Detroit Means Business program. Give me one moment. Yes. Detroit Means Business was a platform created. It's a coalition of over 60 leaders in the community that all support small business. And this has become a hub for small business owners to come to access information that they can use to help get them through the COVID-19 pandemic. So a lot of the resources that are available on this website include financial support. There's definitely reopening playbooks available. You can sign up for free or low-cost one-on-one personal coaching. And then there's toolkits that can help you. So I'm not going to go over the entire website. I'm sure you can do that on your own, but I just want to highlight some of the key points, such as the financial resources tab, which it explains if you need support securing PPP, if you have questions about which grant or loan is correct for you. And then there is a Prosperous grant that's available right now, as well as the Huntington Lift local business. So if there is a grant or a loan available, it will be posted here on this site. And you can always check back frequently or sign up for the newsletter so that you can receive updates. And then the next tab, I just want to make sure we highlight is guidance. This is very critical because it speaks directly to kind of some of the sentiments that were expressed on the call earlier. How do you prepare? How do you get access to create your business plan? Or if you need help creating that profit and loss statement, or if you need support in filing your taxes, there's resources out here to help you do that. So you are not alone. You can request coaching here. There's different groups that have signed on to support Detroit businesses. So I would encourage you, if you have information or if you have questions, or if you want information or if you have questions, please take some time to go through this information. And then if you also would like to sign up for one-on-one coaching, you can do that here. And then the last resource I'll go over, because we are addressing a crowd that's looking to start a business. We have produced the Open for Business guides. And this is a resource that's housed on the City of Detroit's website, as well as dgc.org. And it addresses every stage of opening your business, whether you're looking to go into a property, if you're looking to expand or build out your property, you can go through this guide and it will let you know what steps you need to take. If there's a specific department that you need to reach out to, it lays it out for you. And if you need support, again, there are business liaisons that can help you do that. This is if you've purchased a building or signed a lease. If you have construction drawings and you're ready to do your build out. There's a lot of permit requirements. There may be some licensing requirements. And sometimes for small business owners, it becomes a bit cumbersome. So we want to make sure we have tangible information available that can guide them through that. And if they still need additional support, there's resources and actual people here that can help you. So that concludes the share. And I will turn it back over to you, Sophia, if there are any questions. I don't see any in the chat at this time, but definitely please consider myself as a resource, or if you'd like to visit dgc.org, there's definitely a wealth of information available there as well.
Okay, thanks.
Thank
So
you.
one of the questions I wanted to ask really, and I'm not sure if you'd be the one to respond to this, or maybe Gregoire can help us. As it regards non-citizens, like green card holders, immigrants, because, you know, a lot of times they're the small business owners in the city of Detroit that are not sure where to go to for help. Or, you know, a lot of them are, they don't understand the process or the procedures, right? Whether it's because of translation issues or the fact that they're from a newcomer to the city or a newcomer to the country. Are any of these information or do we have folks or liaisons that can help do that extra guide with them? Or is there anything anything additional that they should be doing?
No, and you've raised a very good question, and it comes up quite often, and we're determining how we can do our outreach to businesses, because we definitely want to make sure that information is not only accessible, but it's information that they can understand and use. So we do partner with the City of Detroit's Office of Immigration Affairs, as well as the Civil Rights, Inclusion, and Opportunity Department. So as these resources are being created, we do provide translation assistance for them. And then we do also rely on some of the local community groups to support us as far as getting actually in front of business owners, communicating with them so that we can provide direct support. So it's kind of a community of support to make sure that that is addressed, yes.
Okay, good, because I know we have Caribbean reggae bands and local singers of, you know, from Caribbean countries that I'm not sure that if we can even, you know, there'll be another discussion, right? Like I said, this is the first in the set of forums that we're going to do. So we have to like target folks or pockets that we know need the help and kind of bring the help to them, because of the nature of how the country has been over the last couple of years, immigrants kind of stay away, especially Black immigrants. They kind of stay away from the conversation because they don't want to feel like they're not welcome. So that's one of the things I want to ensure, that we're inclusive of everybody, especially as it regards folks that are making up our city. You had a question or comment, Gwen?
Sure.
I wanted to add to that, Commissioner True, that thank you for bringing that up. We recently had a situation at the end of last year where we wanted to hire a couple Caribbean musicians, and they had to go through the gaming board. They had to have a license in order to, they were doing some things on the casino properties. In order to be on the floor working, you have to have a license. And there was a couple of them that we couldn't get their license because their immigration papers were hung up. And it's not that they weren't trying, but they've been hung up for a while. So that is something that they really need to focus on, is getting through the process, because it's going to be a hurdle. Even if we try, and you know, that's a lot of work that you could possibly get. We have 3 in the city. Okay. That's a lot of entertainment. So making it easier, number one, but you have to have it. That's just part of the state. Yes. We have another comment about that.
Hello, I'm Gregoire. So I would suggest, and this is where an attorney comes into play. And so something that Bari didn't share, you know, you can retain an attorney for hours, or you can retain an attorney for a specific project. And they're very upfront and they're very affordable, especially if you're going through something like what she's saying. And also, if you ever look at Lara, and you know, when you scroll down after you see the business name and then they have representative, you can always use an attorney to be your representative. So then if anyone has a question about your business, they contact your attorney first. Your attorney reviews the question, looks up everything, calls you, and it says, this is what you need to say. Or I can go and say it for you. So when there's a lot of advantages of having an attorney whether it be a music attorney or just a family attorney or a business attorney. So, and it's very cost efficient.
And I think that's a great segue into, it's better to start a business than to be a sole proprietor. You know, so you being a company is different from you as an individual. So that's another kind of play on that whole conversation, where it would behoove us to start business entities to ensure that, you know, we're looked at as a business versus just one singer in the spotlight. Okay, well, great conversation. So I think we're gearing up towards what 102 is going to look like, or 201 is going to look like. And we would ask the folks that are in attendance too, if you're looking for a particular kind of forum, let us know, and we can take that into consideration when we have our next commissioners meeting to see what the next step will be. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the second man of the hour, Mr. Gregoire Eugene Lewis, a fellow Caribbean person that lives here in the city of Detroit. I'm going to have you kind of bring holistically why we're doing this as it regards opportunities for our small businesses in the arts and entertainment fields to look at potential to grow as it regards opportunities that the city has.
Okay, so that's a lot. So let's start with, so my name is, as everyone's been saying, either Gregoire or Mr. Eugene Lewis, or you could say just Lewis. My background, I'm Haitian. This is my work computer, so I usually have my flag sitting next to my name. But I'm Haitian, and my family moved to Detroit in the early 80s. So my father, who is also Haitian, and my mother's Haitian, they both wanted to be in the entrepreneur realm when I was younger. But just as a lot of Caribbean people, when they come to this country, you know, you're smart and you navigated through a lot of different things in your country. But when you come to America, it gets challenging. People dismiss you. Banks don't treat you equally, and especially if you're Black. With just trying to say your name. So we already know we have so many different barriers that hold that gets in our way. I would definitely, you know, I'm a proponent of organization, and like everyone previously have said, getting an entity, creating some type of entity, creating partnerships if needs be. So if you as an individual, if you're an artist and you can't afford a lot of the things that we said today, and but if it's 5 of you, and just for keepsake, you guys each have $100 and you need to retain a lawyer, and that lawyer costs $500, like, sit down and figure that partnership out, because you're doing the same things. As Barry said earlier, there's operating agreements. And an attorney really, a good one really help you get all your organizations together and figure out how you should set your business up and how you should perform as a business. It's very important. Since this pandemic has happened, we've seen a lot of people apply to thousands of grants and different loan programs and not understand why they didn't receive any money, one. You have people who didn't apply because they were worried about immigration. You had people who just didn't even know about it. And so we had a lot of people get denied, one, because they didn't have a business address. And that's like entry number, that's like the third question in the application. Where is your business address? So, and I'm sorry, is it Miss Cardew?
Cargal, yes. I was just going to say that's where we fit into giving people that business address so that they can apply for things like that and be more eligible.
Right. And so not just if you want to have packages sent a certain place, but to have mail go to a commercial building is very important, because that verifies that you are a real business. And, you know, a lot of people use their home address, and you might have, I had a person who came to me, and in 1960, he lived on the east side of Detroit, and he never changed his business address. And so for years he was getting mail and he never lived there. So, and he never thought to go back and change his address. And he's missed a lot of opportunities because of that. So, I mean, so that I want to start there. Another look at what the DGC, I think Tanisha covered everything that we needed to talk about the DGC, so I won't go back into that. But two programs that the mayor created in the city of Detroit and that the DGC implemented was Motor City Match and Motor City Restore. So Motor City Match is if you're a new business and you are brick and mortar, you had an opportunity where you can go through a grant writing, a business plan program, architectural design that help you with financing your business, and then actually implementing and your design and your business plan in a brick and mortar. And so on the flip side, there were there were questions about existing businesses in the city of Detroit and what can we do for them. So they created Motor City Restore, and Restore is basically a facade improvement grant. We would, if you remember, the final cut was one of Tanisha's pictures. It was the second one where she had a slide of 4 businesses. And so the final cut was a barbershop. It's on 7 Mile and Outer Drive. It has the big basketball in it. And if you pass by before 2020, that basketball was tearing up, and it wasn't looking as great. But if you go there now, I mean, it looks like the first day he opened up. And so, and he has a mural. So that gentleman applied for the program, worked with an architect, worked with a muralist, and he, there it is right there. And he worked with an architect, a muralist, and also some contractors. And he spent roughly around $50,000. And we reimbursed him $25,000 for the facade of his building. But what a lot of people don't know is that he owns the next 3 buildings next to him. And by him entering that program, we introduced him to some financial opportunities where he worked with Invest Detroit, and they assisted him in white boxing 2 vacant buildings that he had at an affordable rate. And so those are the opportunities when you work with us, we can introduce you to. So so I'm not a musician, so I couldn't tell you as a musician how you can expand your business. But there's a lot of ways where if you are interested in brick and mortar, and with the climate of the city of Detroit today, where our focus is the people who've been here and want to stay here. We are here to help you with real estate needs, small business needs. Like the gentleman said before, if you receive royalties and you want to take those royalties into another realm and you want to be a landlord, at the DGC, we can help you become a landlord. We can take advantage of something that's as simple as, if you notice, there's a lot of liquor stores that are 2 stories, which have apartments on top of them. Right now, we don't even realize the opportunity that those business owners have by activating that second floor. That second floor can be a retail space. That second floor could be housing. And so when you go, and if you're interested in real estate and want to expand your business into another realm, that is something to look at. Don't just look for, solely for your business. Think about how you can offset your income or your bills that you have every day by having a tenant. And there are programs that throughout the whole city. Invest Detroit has a program for real estate developers. Capital Impact has a program for African Americans who are interested in becoming real estate developers. So they have a class. It's roughly probably like 6 months. And they take you from A to Z on how to become a developer. And then who at the end of the class, depending on your project, they actually even give you money to go towards becoming a real estate developer. So, you know, musicians have, you know, different, you know, you'll get 10, 15,000 this month, and then it'll be 2 months you might not work, and then you got that $20,000 gig, and then there'll be a couple months. So to have that constant income coming in from something like some real estate, I think is very important. Sophia, did I answer all your questions?
Yes, but one thing I wanted to ask, though, is there any opportunities that any of the city entities that you or Tanisha knows that addresses the needs for musicians or artists, any creatives, as far as funding or those kinds of things outside of real estate, right?
So right now, the only type of funding is, right now you have the SBA. If you're a business, if you have an LLC or a corporation or any other entity, they are giving loans because of the pandemic. And so that's like the hardship loans. And then it all depends on what you've made in the last year. I see Portia, she said she's not an artist. So like someone who has an LLC, right now, Huntington Bank is actually has a program. I think your credit score has to be at least a 580, and they're giving loans at it's 3% with a 2% something. So it makes I forgot exactly what she told me, but it was like it's basically 5% interest rate, and it's a 10-year loan, which for a business loan, and it's up to $150,000. So Huntington Bank is actually actively giving that out to minorities, particularly Blacks, because Huntington Bank is only in the Midwest, I believe. It's not all over the United States. So I think that's something that right now, with the entry level being a 580, I think it opens it up for a lot of different people, spectrum. So if you own a business, I would definitely contact Huntington Bank.
So the bottom line is we have to prepare ourselves as business entities to go after any of the opportunities that are available for assistance. I think that's the takeaway from this conversation today. Yes,
you have to have some type of entity. Personally, and I'll share on my personal, I actually opened a holding company, and it's in Wyoming. And why Wyoming? Because the tax,
You're breaking up. You're breaking up. Can you repeat that? Mm-hmm.
So I said, personally, I have a holding company in Wyoming because of the tax benefit that I can receive, even though I don't make that much money, but it still helps. Holding companies are really good. I think Barry would be more equipped to say what I'm trying to say. So Barry, you want to jump in there about?
Oh, sorry. You wanted me to explain what a holding company was, or what was the question? I'm sorry.
Explain what a holding company is and the benefits of not having it in Michigan.
Well, kind of. Well, it does have tax benefits, but a holding company, it's hard to explain kind of on it if it doesn't apply to your situation, but it owns other businesses for you and can help with tax benefits. It's often applies in real estate situations more than non-real estate situations.
So for example, Adriana that has a couple companies within that company, would that be an opportunity for a holding company for her? Because I know she has the event business, then she actually has the showroom I don't know if Adriana is still on.
Yes.
Yes, I'm still
Right.
here. And I actually was thinking that I was making a note to reach out to you because I have DDG Events and Entertainment, which is the LLC, and then I have the DBAs underneath it, which is DDG Events, my travel portion, because I'm a travel agent as well. And then now I have the showroom that operates as a business lounge and an exclusive event space. So I've actually brainstormed with Sophia a couple of weeks ago and was saying, I just feel like I need to put this all under,
Yes,
an
so
umbrella.
Yes, and that's a good point. So as a way to kind of have subsidiaries of a larger company, and that's and how you do use a holding company, sorry, in non-real estate situations, where you'll have, the main parent company. When you think of like a parent company, and then their wholly owned subsidiaries. So the holding company owns the smaller businesses, yes, it is a way to structure your business, and it can have tax benefits. As Gregoire mentioned about, his holding company is is in out of state for tax reasons.
Yep. And then also a perfect example of that is like Johnson & Johnson. Johnson & Johnson, we all know them as for a lotion, but they're actually a holding company. They own a lot of different businesses. So if you have your hat in a lot of different arenas, it's another good way to protect yourself also, and then also protect your other businesses so that you don't have everything under one LLC.
Yes,
Okay.
it is important when you talk about having different business entities, if you have your, hand in different things, because you don't want, your income from one business, if something goes wrong to that business, to affect the income, the assets in another business. A lot of times people do that when, you might own multiple, have multiple locations. Even in that situation, sometimes you have them as separate entities, because if something goes wrong at one location, you don't want it to negatively impact another location.
And that's what I'm dealing with now. So I was like, we all are always learning at whatever stage your business is in. There's always new things to learn. So these are very important, even for people that's been in business since 2014.
And something else that I wanted to bring up, I noticed, man, I just almost slipped my mind. We talked about so talents. So we had a young lady. She worked at the factory, and she worked there for 30 years, and she wanted to open up a spa. And she said, I wanted to open up a spa for men to that work on their feet a lot and do all these things. And then we sat down and we talked. She asked me to talk to her about it. And I said, so what do you know about spas? And she was like, well, I don't know anything about it. I go get my nails done, I get my feet done. And I said, but what have you been doing for the last 30 years? She said, paint. Like, I can look at a car and I can tell you if it's a good paint job, if it's a bad paint job. I can see deficiencies from a mile away. And so I sat down with her and I said, maybe you need to open up your own body shop. And so, there's one thing where you have this dream of what you want to have one day, but then also you need to look at what are you good at. I've always went by the motto that, in your 20s, you're looking to figure out who you want to be. In your 30s, you're trying to master once you figure out who you want to be. And then in your 40s, all the things that you mastered in your 30s and to become who you are. So it's very important that if you're good at something, make that decision. You've been doing it for so long. So
And that's a great point, coming back to the concept of side hustles, right? Side hustles are typically based on your passion. You love to sing. So you work at an engineering firm from 9 to 5, but on everything that you're doing on your off time is singing. How do you capitalize on that now is by creating a company, growing this company, because at that point it's not work. It's all passion for you. So you do extremely well at it. But you have to hone those skills by creating it into a company so that you can now make money from it. So it transfers just from a passion into a business.
Yeah.
So going back to Barry's point, and I want you to go over them again briefly for us. How do we start a company? What are the key components to starting a company? The first is having the passion for it. Once I have the passion for it, what do I do next?
So once you have the passion for your business, and that's what, I mean, and that's why I focused on, you know, having some kind of mission statement, like really being focused on what is it? Where do you see it going? The first thing that you can do after that is creating an entity. You create the business entity, and you can get, you know, some advice. And most artists, as I said, and entertainers end up deciding on having an LLC, but you create the actual entity. Then you get your employee identification number and you use that to open your business bank account. We had, kind of as an aside, you might need an operating agreement. As Gregoire was talking about, sometimes you're working with partners, sometimes you're working with multiple partners, and it's really important before things go wrong. And I don't want to be like the negative Nancy, but before anything goes wrong, you want to think of what to do just in case. And make that plan in advance, because when you're in crisis, trying to figure out how to get out of a bad situation, that's not the time to think about it. Time to think about it when everything's happy and you're in the honeymoon state. And we're going to hope that it never goes wrong. So you've got your articles of organization, you've got your employee identification number, and you're opening your bank account, because you need to keep track of this money that you're going to bring in. You got to keep track of it, and it needs to be separate from your personal finances. It needs to be separate. And then third step, as I'm suggesting, is coming up with some kind of accounting method, because right now with, you know, the pandemic, and hopefully there's no worse situation upon us, but to be ready, you need to add a moment's notice, be ready to apply. Okay, Huntington Bank has something available. I want your they'll say, I want your profit and loss statement for this time period. I want your balance sheet for this time period. If you have an accounting plan in place, a program in place, whether an accountant or yourself, in a moment right now give you a balance sheet, and with no notice required, because sometimes it's just days. When there is a problem, people are actively trying to get these loans and grants, and there's a lot of competition, and sometimes it's the first one there. It's the first one to get there, and it goes first come, first serve, as Gregoire, you know, can speak to, and Tanisha can speak to. So you want to be the one, you want to be one of the first ones there. And it's been amazing to see there's so many resources available to small business owners in the city to do kind of like the next steps when you're thinking of growing, coming up with business plans. There's great resources that were provided. You know, figuring out, I'm sure, with marketing, how you can market and grow, you know, get the word out about the service you're providing, whether you're a singer and, you know, a musician of some kind. It's good to get the information out. Thinking of what kind of insurance, you know, earlier, Mr. Armstrong spoke about many of the small business owners not having insurance. You don't have to have, and I'm going to say this again, you don't have to have like a regular job to have life insurance. You don't have to have a regular job to have even disability insurance. There are portable policies that are affordable that you can put in place to protect your business, to protect your family. So thinking about those things as, you know, your business continues is available. Like, you thinking of these things is important. Gregoire?
Yeah, I was gonna say also, I mean, you can have insurance for your hands. You have insurance for, you know, for a lot of different parts of your body that you use to do. So that is very cool.
That's Lloyd's of London. You can insure your voice. There's many things. However, there's also another insurance that you need, musicians specifically, if you are performing, say you're taking equipment in and out, a lot of places like Renaissance Center and some of the major hotels or venues that you'll be performing at will require you to have liability insurance. And that's something you can acquire through the union. Because it's a group. So they're going to sell you, you're going to get the group rate. You're not going to go. And That's where we get ours. You know, you have to have it, and they require, and then they want you to name them on your policy. So and those are usually the higher paying engagements. So that's, you know, you really do want to make sure that you handle your business, not you want to handle your band like a business, not your business like a band. So that's some old wisdom there.
I also want to say, because I'm not well versed in the music industry, but just like any other industry, there are niches. Like, you know, as a musician, you might need something at the last minute and it's not available, or there's just so many different niches inside that industry. Like, if you are that singer that it has a 9 to 5 and you love to sing, but you want to make money in that industry, like, find a niche that is not being provided, you know, in Michigan, but you saw it in LA, or you saw it in Vegas, or you saw it somewhere else, and bring it to Detroit.
Great. That's fantastic. So we have another 18 minutes to go to wrap up. So I wanted to open the floor now to the attendees to see if we're going to do like just a brief introduction. Tell us, unmute you. I want you to tell us who you are, if you're comfortable doing it, and what business you're in, and why this session was important for you to attend. So I'm going to start with Ryan Montague.
Hello, everyone. Just gonna put me on the spot, huh?
I know Ryan is a very good friend of mine. He's actually the gentleman that designed the flyer. He is local to Detroit, and he is, let him tell you about himself, but I do use him for majority of my marketing and also for my website design.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm Ryan Montague. I work normally as a web developer, and then my side hustle is I help small businesses to build a website to get on the internet. To start a website sometimes it's expensive, so what I usually do, I try to help whosoever is trying to start a business, just to whatever budget that they have, I try to work with it and try to get them out there. So I know Sophie for a long time. You know, we work on a lot of marketing stuff together, and she told me about this meeting. I thought I was interested to come and just get some information, because, you know, every information helped me so I can be more successful in whatever I'm doing. It's nice to meet everyone, and I'm happy that I was here.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Ryan, for checking in. Giovanni Morris Elliott.
Hi, thank you. I was invited by Adriana. I recently came in for a consultation, so I can rent out her space, which is beautiful. I was looking to throw a party. I do have a lot of ideas. I'm trying to start up a nonprofit organization that helps a bunch of different, it helps just about everyone. I model, so I do have a lot of people like vendors, business owners, boutique owners, and things that I deal with on a daily basis, and helping with their branding and networking. So I am very appreciative of being a part of this meeting today, just basically to be able to cross all my T's and dot all my I's with the information that was given by Ms. Gwen Scales and Ms. Bari, as well as Mr. Eugene. This was very helpful for me in the different business ventures that I do have planning on to start things.
Fantastic. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to ask Alcina to unmute and introduce herself. Alcina, we can't hear you.
use my. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Good evening, good afternoon.
Hi. So, Sophia Chu invited me to this meeting. I have always had a whole bunch of ideas of things I wanted to do, and some of the things I did was catering and all that kind of stuff. However, my husband's business, which is 3SM Construction and Services, and I too am using Ryan for our website and all that kind of stuff. I decided during the COVID that what can I do that is already established, registered, bank, all that kind of stuff. And so my focus is on expanding this business. There is a whole bunch of information that I've learned, and then Eugene opened up my mind to like, oh my God, I can actually have it as a holding company. There are two other areas that can fall under the same program, under the same business, like an appraisership program and that of a home inspection. So Sophia, that's another new wish list that I'm creating and all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited that I'm here and I'm getting a lot of information, things that I can research, the whole Huntington deal. It's a whole bunch of stuff. So I thank you so very much for having me.
Thank you, Alcina. So now we're gonna ask Keith to unmute and introduce himself and tell us a little bit about what he does and what he gathered from being in the meeting with us today.
Hello, everybody. My name is Keith Robinson. I was invited by Adriana. I just recently started throwing parties, and I was trying to give the artists that I know, like networks, to start learning how to perform before they start getting gigs. So that was my whole part. And then I started networking after that. And I'm trying to throw like different events, like karaoke events, some vendor events. I also coach basketball, and I was starting the AAU, which because of COVID, that didn't go so well this year. So I'm trying to push it back to next year. So I learned some stuff about like, especially the holding company that can help with different businesses and stuff. Cause I'm also trying to go into artist management and different stuff like that. And then for my AAU, I can also put that under my holding company as well. So I want to thank you all for the information that I gained today, and I appreciate it.
Okay, make sure you guys pass this information on to others that do need it. Okay, Miss Portia Jackson.
Hi, everybody. I'm Portia Jackson. I was actually invited by my business partner. Her name is Shakira, and she couldn't be here because she's actually on her way back to Michigan from California. So I'm here, and I honestly didn't know what to expect. It was like literally last minute. However, I did learn a lot, a little bit about myself and my business. Shakira and I started an herbal steam, an herbal company to where we create different herbal blends for like teas, specifically yoni steams, and we're working on a men's product now. It's more so dealing with holistic health and holistic healing, just to get our community on more of a healthier way of healing themselves, whereas just giving another alternative to the pharmaceuticals, because a lot of people nowadays aren't really trying to go that route. So we're just giving another alternative. That's pretty much our business. It is called SAFE. It's an acronym it's SAPHE. It stands for Shakira and Portia's Healing Energy. So we're really just starting, getting everything off the ground. So any and all information that we can get, we try to make sure we're in attendance for. So we appreciate all of the information everyone here has shared today. I've actually screenshot the chat box so that I can go back to reference the things and the people that I need to speak with. So it's greatly appreciated for all of you today.
Thank you for participating.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I did talk to your sister, and I know I invited her, even though her business venture or what she's planning to do now wasn't specifically event oriented. I know she and I have talked a lot about different events and things that she wants to do. So, you know, she still fits into that realm, and what you guys are doing is great for a lot of different artists and health and, you know, vocal cords and things like that. So, and I know you guys were starting out. So, you know, I knew this information would be very vital for you guys as far as knowing exactly where to go next. So thanks for joining. I know she was having a good time and out of town. So I'm glad you were able to tune in and make sure she gets this info.
I am. Thank you for extending the invitation to her, because without that, I wouldn't have been able to be on today. So it's appreciated.
No problem. Thanks for coming.
Okay, so now we're going to ask Eric Holman to unmute and tell us about a little bit about himself and what this event did, you know, meant to him.
Okay, hello. My name is Eric Holman. I do a lot of community work in the city. I write grants. I usually work for the Lower East Side. We did the Kellogg's grants. I've done a lot of small business grants. So I just want to get a lot of information about, you know, different things that you guys have. I did a lot of my stuff with Build Institute. I'm a Build Institute graduate. So that's where I get all my small business knowledge from when it comes to City Detroit. But I was just interested to learn different things and different programs, different avenues where I could better establish myself in the city of Detroit and help small businesses.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. So last but not least is Michael Grimes. Can I ask you to unmute? Tell us a little bit about yourself and what this program meant to you today, why you participated. Michael? Maybe Michael is shy. Oh. Teresa, are you on the call? I know Teresa was having audio issues earlier, but Teresa Thompson, she works with us on the Detroit Entertainment Commission, and she's usually responsible for taking fantastic notes and making sure we stay in order during our meetings. So are you able to speak, Teresa?
She just chatted saying
she said 1 second.
She's trying to, yes, yeah. She's trying to get on. Okay.
Okay. So until Teresa comes on, I want to thank you guys again so much for participating today. I know it took a whole 2 hours out of your typical Saturday chores, and I'm hoping that we were able to give you the information that you needed to make the decisions moving forward from a sole proprietor or just a side hustle to build your passion out into a business using the resources that we have. If you have any additional questions for any of us, you're how to reach us. We typically have, Gwen, if you could tell us when our next Entertainment Commission meeting is. Oh, there's Teresa. Mm-hmm. So we can have these folks chime in to kind of see what we do for the city as the Entertainment Commission, and they can participate in that meeting.
Teresa, would you like to let them know when the next meeting is?
Sure, it's December 14th.
Okay.
And it is a virtual meeting. So typically, if you follow us, Detroit Entertainment Commission on Facebook, our meetings are typically on our page. You are able to participate in the room as a Zoom, or it is also live on Facebook, so you can watch that way.
And also, Commissioner Chu,
yes,
the notice for the next meeting is up on our webpage.
Oh,
so the participants can, you know, just refer to that in order to participate in the meeting, the next meeting.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Teresa.
I have one more thing I wanted to say. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead.
This forum was great. It was really great. It was a lot of good information. My daughter and her friend, although they're not in arts and entertainment, they're trying to start their own hair care line. And so hearing the information from all the presenters was very helpful to them. So I just wanted to say that I mean, because I know a lot of other young ladies that are trying to start, you know, clothing lines and a lot of haircut or, you know, beauty lines and stuff like that. And so it's just good for them to have this type of information. I just wanted to say that.
All right, so like we said, this is the first in a series of. You can put in the chat what you think our next series would be. We're also going to send a survey out to everybody that signed up via the Eventbrite link. We're asking for you to take just a few minutes, fill out the survey, kind of making sure that we're positioned to take this next step based on what your needs are. Again, my name is Sophia Chu. I am the secretary of the Detroit Entertainment Commission. I'm also the executive director of the Caribbean Community Service Center. And we were happy that they allowed us to use their Zoom platform today for this meeting. I want to thank Commissioner Gwen Scales, the chairperson for the Entertainment Commission, for participating today and for giving us the opportunity to reach out to get this forum done. Adriana Cargill from DDG Showroom, check out her place, become one of her members. It's a fantastic spot to have meetings and to have events. I have been over there just a few times, and I really do enjoy the space and the fact that the location is on the west side of Detroit, very easy to find, fabulous, fabulous setup. She has a fireplace. I want to
fireplace, waterfall, 50-inch
exactly.
TV, projector 60 inches wide.
I want to thank Blake Wood Law, Ms. Wood, for taking the opportunity from your beautiful children this afternoon to educate us. We will stay in touch with you because I know we have folks that will use your information and also reach out to you to ensure that we're doing the right things to get ourselves geared up for the next step. I want to thank District Number 1 Business Liaison Tanisha Johnson. We have worked in a couple programs together, and I'm always in awe of the information that you provide and your willingness to work with our communities to make sure that we stay along the course to get to where we need to be. So you know I'm gonna reach out with you for the next one. Then I'm gonna thank my brother in crime sometime for always bringing it. You make sure we stay on point. You bring all the information that we need. Not only does he focus on the city of Detroit, but Highland Park, he didn't mention it, maybe, but it is also in his pocket as to this one of the cities that he's very passionate about working with. We appreciate everybody that participated today. Thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. I want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Go enjoy the sunlight that's outside. It's kind of cool, but it's still sunny because tomorrow is a totally different kind of a thing. So again, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you. Peace.
Next time. Thank you, Commissioner Chu.
All right, you guys take care.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.